Faced with algorithmic governance and digital corporate hierarchies, what fundamental choices must we make now to ensure technology serves as a tool for all of the human communities, not digital subjugation? Tonight we explore a dystopian world manipulated by algorithms, corporations, and science. Here, your imagination reflects through an endless labyrinth of circuits lurking just beneath the surface of the binary mirror.
In the beginning, there was a dream that felt like prophecy. The internet would demolish the old order. No more aristocrats born into wealth. No more gatekeepers controlling access to power. A new digital frontier, proclaimed the tech evangelists of the 1990s, and in those 4 words lay the promise of pure meritocracy. The best algorithms would rise to the top. The smartest ideas would inherit the earth, and anyone with a laptop could rewrite the rules of civilization. But revolutions have a way of eating their own children. Today, as I write this on a device manufactured in China and transmitted through Google's infrastructure, and likely read on a platform owned by Meta, Apple, Amazon, or Mr. X, an uncomfortable truth has crystallized. We didn't destroy the old aristocracy. We simply coded a new one. Drive through Palo Alto today, and you'll see the estates of the new nobility, not castles, but sprawling corporate spaceship-sized campuses where 20-something engineers wield more power than medieval kings ever dreamed of. Mark Zuckerberg controls what 3 billion people see each morning. Sundar Pichai determines what constitutes knowledge for most of humanity. Elon Musk shapes the very infrastructure of human communication, like a spoiled child looking for attention from his followers. These are not elected officials. They answer to no constitution, no Bill of Rights. Their power stems from something far more durable than political office. They own the protocols. They built the digital roads we travel, the virtual town squares where we gather, and the invisible algorithms that decide which thoughts get amplified and which disappear into the void. The numbers tell the story of concentration that would make robber barons blush. Just 7 companies command a market capitalization exceeding $9 trillion. That's larger than the entire economy of China. In the physical world, such concentration of power took centuries to accumulate. In the digital realm, it happened in 2 decades. But here's where this new aristocracy differs fundamentally from the old. Their wealth isn't built on land or oil or steel. It's built on us, our free data. Every search query, every scroll, every pause before clicking buy becomes part of a vast extraction operation. We are both the laborers and the raw material in the new economy. Shoshana Zuboff, the Harvard emeritus professor who coined the term surveillance capitalism, was being metaphorical when she described this as a new form of colonialism. Our behavioral data, the digital exhaust of our daily lives, gets refined into behavioral futures markets, where our tomorrow selves are bought and sold today. Insurance companies bid on your search history. Political operatives purchase your anger patterns. Retailers auction off your moments of vulnerability. The sophistication is breathtaking. Google doesn't just know what you want, it knows what you're about to want, often before you do. Amazon doesn't just sell you products, it shapes your desires with algorithmic precision. Facebook doesn't just show you news, it determines what you believe constitutes reality. From this digital aristocracy has emerged something even more troubling, a priestly class that claims to speak for an artificial deity. They call it artificial general intelligence in government contracts, selling omniscience as a service to intelligence agencies and police departments. Their software doesn't just analyze data, it makes predictions about human behavior that become self-fulfilling prophecies in courtrooms and detention centers. Meanwhile, companies like Anduril promise to automate the logic of warfare, turning kill or spare decisions over to algorithms trained on datasets we'll never be allowed to see. These are just business deals. They're the establishment of a new form of governance, ruled by algorithm, administered by a technological priesthood that insists they're artificial ganger. From this digital aristocracy has emerged something even more troubling, a priestly class that claims to speak for an artificial deity. They call it artificial general intelligence, and they preach its gospel with the fervor of true believers, building a temple to their digital god. Walk into any Sand Hill Road venture capital firm, and you'll hear the sound of billion-dollar evaluations float out of thin air for AI companies who don't even have a product roadmap. Sales tactics such as, AI will solve climate change, eliminate poverty, cure disease, even death itself. The high priests, Sam Altman of OpenAI, Demis Hassabis of DeepMind, Dario Amodei of Anthropic, speak of alignment and safety while building systems whose complexity deliberately exceeds human comprehension. But look closer at where the real money flows. Palantir has secured government contracts, selling omniscience as a service to intelligence agencies and police departments. Their software doesn't just analyze data, it makes predictions about human behavior that become self-fulfilling prophecies in courtrooms and detention centers. Meanwhile, companies like Anduril promise to automate the logic of warfare, turning kill or spare decisions over to algorithms trained on datasets we'll never be allowed to see. These aren't just business deals. They're the establishment of a new form of governance, rule by algorithm, administered by a technological priesthood that insists their artificial god knows better than human judgment. The most insidious aspect of this new aristocracy is how effectively it has disguised itself as meritocracy. The market rewards the best ideas. It's a seductive story, this digital American dream, and it contains just enough truth to feel believable. Yet the data reveals a different reality. A Stanford study found that 88% of tech CEOs attended elite universities. The same venture capital firms fund the same networks of entrepreneurs who went to the same schools and belong to the same exclusive clubs. Y Combinator, the most prestigious startup accelerator, has become less diverse over time, not more. The disruption narrative has become an elaborate performance of innovation that primarily serves to consolidate power. Uber didn't revolutionize transportation, it transferred taxi drivers' livelihoods to app-controlled surveillance systems. Amazon didn't liberate retail, it created a digital company town where millions of businesses pay tribute to Jeff Bezos for the privilege of reaching customers. This is the divine right of kings, rebranded for the information age as the chosen algorithm. The new nobility didn't inherit their power, they coded it into the infrastructure of daily life. If Silicon Valley created a new aristocracy, then the rest of us have become digital serfs, living and working on virtual plantations we can never own. Content creators build audiences on platforms that can ban them without explanation. Small businesses depend on Google's search algorithm for survival, never knowing when an update might destroy their livelihood overnight. Gig workers, drivers, delivery couriers, freelancers, labor under algorithmic managers that track their every movement and decision. The parallel to sharecropping isn't just metaphorical. Like tenant farmers who worked land they could never purchase, we build our digital lives on platforms controlled by distant landlords who can change the rules, seize our data, or evict us at will. The terms of service we never read function as digital vagrancy laws, defining the narrow boundaries of acceptable behavior in someone else's kingdom. Consider the creator economy, supposedly the great democratizer of media and commerce. Millions of people have built careers on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch, creating content that generates billions in advertising revenue. Yet these creators own nothing, not their audiences, not their content distribution, not even their own usernames. They are sharecroppers, in Mark Cuban's phrase, renting their success from platforms that extract value from their labor, while offering no equity in return. Perhaps most troubling is how willingly we're surrendering the most human of capacities, judgment. Faced with the overwhelming complexity of modern life, we're increasingly tempted to let artificial intelligence make our decisions for us. Dating apps choose our romantic partners, GPS systems select our routes, recommendation algorithms curate our culture, AI tools write our emails, plan our schedules, even parent our children through screen time management. This isn't efficiency, it's abdication. Each small surrender of decision-making authority contributes to a larger pattern of learned helplessness. Why struggle with difficult choices when the algorithm can optimize them for us? Why develop taste, intuition, or wisdom when machine learning can process more data points than human consciousness could ever hold? The endpoint of this trajectory isn't hard to imagine. A society of permanent ascendance, relieved of the burden of adult judgment, managed by artificial intelligences that promise to maximize our happiness while minimizing our agency. It would be a comfortable present, optimized for engagement and compliance, where the friction of choice has been engineered away along with the possibility of growth, meaning, or genuine human flourishing. Yet servitude is not our destiny. The same technologies that enabled this new aristocracy also contain the seeds of liberation, if we choose to plant them. The path forward requires something more radical than regulation or antitrust action, necessary as those may be. It demands what we might call epistemic sovereignty, the assertion of our fundamental right to understand, question, and ultimately control the code that governs our reality. This isn't about going back to some pre-digital golden age that never existed. It's about moving forward to a digital future where technology serves human agency rather than replacing it. Where algorithms amplify our best human capacities instead of exploiting our cognitive vulnerabilities. Where the code that shapes our lives is written by us, for us, and remains forever open to revision. The tools for this transformation won't be handed down from Silicon Valley boardrooms. They must be built from the ground up. Decentralized networks that no single entity can control, transparent algorithms that can be audited and understood, digital commons that belong to everyone and no one. The blockchain enthusiasts got one thing right. We need infrastructure we can trust, not because it's controlled by trustworthy people, but because it's designed to work without requiring trust in any central authority. The window for this choice is narrowing. Each day we delay, the new aristocracy's grip on power grows stronger, their algorithms more sophisticated, and their control more complete. But the code is not yet set in stone. The future remains unwritten, waiting for us to seize the keyboard and start typing our own story. The question isn't whether we can build a better digital world. It is whether we will choose to do so before the choice is made by an algorithmic Silicon Valley overlord.